Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. I started these conversations because through my work and the community that I'm building, I am meeting so many amazing people, and I thought it just was not fair that only I got to meet them. So I wanted to bring these amazing, passionate people who are supporting women in midlife to you. So you guys get to know them. This chat series is really a way for me to introduce them to you. You can hear the stories, you get to know them personally. When you know someone, you like them and trust them, you're more willing to use them as a resource. So I want to share them with you. And so you can get to know their products, their services, and see how we can support you. And with that, I've got my wonderful, good, longtime friend, Leah Isaacs, who is the founder of Root2Rise Nutrition. So, Leah, just tell us a little bit about who you are, how you started your business, and how you support women in midlife.
Sure. Thanks, Mayor, for having me. This is a great treat for me as well. Um, so basically, to right to it, I help women use nutrition and lifestyle shifts really to overcome digestive issues, ease symptoms of, hormonal swings through the various stages of menopause, and often even navigating autoimmune flare-ups on top of that. A lot of my clients through perimenopause and menopause are also dealing with autoimmune conditions. So these are women who are generally very health-minded and they're frustrated. I think you can probably relate to that, Meredith.
Yep.
They're used to being in control of their bodies, and then either over time or sometimes they seemingly overnight,
Yeah.
their body just starts to feel unfamiliar and
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And I would
So
definitely say, knowing your story, you have a personal reason why you started really supporting women, specifically in gut health. So if you want to maybe share a little bit about that.
sure, sure. Yeah. So my own journey with digestive and hormonal struggles actually started during my previous career. I spent 20 years in the career of corporate accounting world and finance and real estate in particular. And I struggled with horrible digestive issues, really debilitating. And then also irregular periods and just really like a lot of women, I just sort of grit and bear it for a while.
Mm.
I just sort of accepted, well, this is just how it is, until I found a nutritionist who completely changed my perspective and really changed my quality of life. And that truly, while not immediately, I still spent several years um, in my career, ultimately decided to transition into, being able to help women with similar struggles. A lot of people aren't managing their own health because they're dealing with competing work, life demands, and they're at a loss as to where to begin. And so that's where I really wanted to come in and help them.
I love it because it is such a personal story. And I think that when you're working with a professional that has been through what you're through and they can relate and they understand, and I think in a lot of ways, we have so much going on and we don't know what's going on with our bodies and we keep blaming it on something else. Or if we go to a professional, I know myself, I went to a doctor early on and it was stress and I'd had lightheadedness and all this going on. It was almost like being told something was going on with, oh, you're just stressed, you've got young babies at home, when really there was hormonal things going on. So like with you as well, if there are other women out there, individuals, it's not just women who are
Mhm.
struggling with gut health, hormones, you've been there. You know
Yeah.
exactly what they're going through. So it's not like you're blaming it on something else. Oh, well, you're not doing this. Well, let's figure out why this is happening because you're believing what they're saying when they're coming to you. That's such a difference,
Yeah,
and I think it makes such a
absolutely.
difference for us women that are struggling. We just feel like we're not alone in this. Someone gets what we're going through.
For sure. And I say, I am able to combine that personal experience with professional expertise to really guide women towards that lasting health. I love educating, I love coaching, and also keeping them accountable. That said, while I did have my own journey, everybody's journey is different. And
Yeah.
so we may have similar symptoms, but the root of those symptoms may be different. And so that's where, and also everybody's lifestyle is different. And
Yeah.
so, you know, what I first do when women come to me is, they're frustrated, they're overwhelmed, they don't know where to begin. First, I assure them they're not stuck, right? What they're feeling is common. It doesn't need to be normal, but it is
Mm,
common. And
yeah.
so that's number one. And number two is it doesn't take a complete overhaul of your lifestyle to start feeling better, right?
Yeah.
And confident and more in control of your body. It's really can be very simple, but strategic shifts that make a difference.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
in my one-on-one practice, I tailor my recommendations to everyone's unique needs and their lifestyles, um, because it needs to be adaptable too,
Yeah.
right? In
I
order
think
for it to be
that's so
sustainable.
important that you say that because I think a lot of people don't want to get started because they're so afraid of what it's going to take to make the change. And they think it's going to be this complete, like you said, overhaul. And sometimes it is just starting with little bits and pieces that, when you meet with them, you can identify maybe what the priorities are. And nobody is going to be consistent if all of a sudden they're living their life one way and now it's completely shifted. It's unrealistic to make those changes and stick with the changes. So I love that you say that it starts small and it's really understanding where they're coming from and what changes they can make. I know I've worked with you personally, and I think it's kind of some of the non-negotiables because I've got a husband who loves wine is I was like, well, I have to be able to have my glass of wine. I'll tell you personally now, I don't know if I can even keep drinking wine because my body's just not metabolizing it the same, so I'm not enjoying it the same. So now it might
Right.
be now it could be a negotiable, but maybe a few years ago it was a non-negotiable. So anyway, so being able to really meet with that woman, individual, where they're at, identifying, what changes could make some impact and starting slow. So I love that approach that you have. And I know for me personally, you came, or I went to you actually at a time where my hormones were all crazy and I didn't know what was going on. And I had gone to a doctor and the doctor scared me. And I literally came out of this doctor's appointment in tears calling you and saying, what is going on? Do I need a second opinion? The doctor wanted to put me on medication and it scared me. And,
Mhm.
the advice that I received from you was just life-changing. So I want you to know that and I thank you for that. And I think it really did bring me on this journey to realize that I'm not alone. Other women need to know what I know and to really build
Mhm.
community around that. And that is how Mamas in Menopause started. It started with our conversation and you saying, I'd love to share this information that I'm sharing with you. And me saying, well, great, let me get a room of 10 women together. I'll host it in my living room. And I think we were both very pleasantly surprised when I kept telling you, another person signed up, another person signed up. Oh my gosh, what's going on? We had 30 women in my living room. We were pushing more chairs and making room because we wanted to support everyone. So I'm just so thankful that I think kind of the combination between our energies really started this conversation. And we realized that women really needed this community. We really needed
Absolutely.
a space to not feel alone. And
Hmm.
um, and it's
For
grown and
sure.
it continues to grow from there. So I love that. And so just kind of on that vein, as far as community and helping women not feel, overwhelmed, you know, what do you bring to, specifically women in midlife with hormonal menopause symptoms that you might be able to share a little bit of information?
About how I work with my clients.
Yeah, how
Is
you
that,
work with
yeah,
clients or even with,
yeah,
your philosophy, your approach of what are hormones doing that's and how nutrition and hormones are connected.
yeah. Well, like I said, first I walk my clients off the ledge sometimes. You're not
Me,
stuck.
yes.
This is normal. Um, and remind them that our bodies are in a shifting landscape, right? We are not a failure. It's just that our bodies, our biology is changing. And so that means that our approach needs to adapt and change.
Mm,
And so I can't tell you how many times women come to me and they say, I don't understand. Like, I haven't changed anything. And all of a sudden, I've gained 10 pounds and it's all in my belly. Or I'm so bloated. I've never had this experience before. Or I'm so constipated and I've done nothing different.
yeah,
Well, that's the answer is you haven't done anything different. And unfortunately, or fortunately, um, we do need to approach our bodies differently. And it is possible. It's just understanding why it's happening and then acquiring the tools
yeah,
to make a change. And again, very simple is my motto, you know. I really want to simplify what's right for them.
yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I mean, and that's so true. I mean, I think that when things get too complicated, we feel like everything in our life is so complicated and chaos and whatever changes that are going on. This is just one more thing that we feel overwhelmed. And I think
right.
too, in this stage of our life, it is so hard to invest in us first.
Mm-hmm. It is.
We
It
don't
is really hard.
mind spending money on our kids and all their activities. We don't mind
Mm-hmm.
running around and helping mom and dad and do their shopping and whatever to help them with maybe some of the stuff we see they need
Mm-hmm.
change. But we
Right.
have the
Right.
hardest time to stop, look at ourselves, and I like to say invest time and money in ourselves
Mm-hmm.
because as we know, it's not free to get some of
Mm-hmm.
these services, but when we really look at the long-term impact, having a
Mm-hmm.
conversation with you, um, and identifying if you're even a good client for them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
and then if maybe they would be better suited with a connection that you might have, or if they are a good client for you, investing in themselves so that that
Yeah.
longevity and that overall health, and just being okay with that, being okay that we're worth it.
Yeah. And look, again, like I said, sometimes it doesn't take a massive overhaul with most of my clients because a lot of them are doing a lot of the right things already. It's
Mm,
just shifting here and there. And what I do is I do a full intake of my clients first. So I take a health history. We talk about their biggest pain points, what's worked in the past, I do a whole symptoms assessment questionnaire. I have them do a food and mood journal for 4 or 5 days. And I take all of that information together, review it before we meet. And that's what helps me put a plan together that gives them the individualized attention and tools and recommendations that they need.
yeah,
It needs to have flexibility in order to be sustainable. And when
yeah,
you talk about investment, that it truly is an investment because my goal is this isn't a quick fix that
yeah,
then you might fall back again. This is a long-term way of life that you will be able to sustain and feel better. And it's also, money in the bank for your future health.
yeah, yeah. It is, and it's really understanding where, like you're saying, the little shifts and the little changes that they could be making now, understanding that long-term impact
Hmm.
on that overall health. So I'm
Absolutely.
yeah, and I think it's so hard because you're right. I think a lot of times we just think, okay, great, I'm just gonna go and I'm gonna make these few changes and then I'm gonna just go back to what I was doing before. But with your experience and your knowledge, just being able to help them and give them those tools to
Hmm.
understand what I need to shift, what I need to
Right.
change, and maybe what I can be flexible on when I need that flexibility. Um,
Yes. And if there are any non-negotiables, we talk about that. That's actually one of the questions I ask is what's something you couldn't live without?
yeah,
Um, and, you know, life is always going to be busy. You're going to have vacations. You're going to have stressful moments. You're going to
mhm,
have busier times. And so there's never the perfect time. It's
yeah,
always the right time. And it's
yeah,
knowing how to get back to a place of health. If you have, gone on a vacation and felt that, I've fallen off the rails, there is no
yeah,
such thing. It's really just looking ahead and taking those tools and using them to, again,
yeah,
take control of your own
yeah.
destiny, really.
Yeah, because we're all busy, and depending on the age and stage that you're at, that your kids are at, we're at baseball fields and soccer fields and vacations and restaurants and everything that is out of our control. And
Hmm.
when you have the tools, when you understand, okay, when you're in these scenarios that you don't maybe have the control of the food and the ingredients and all that, what are your tips? What are your tricks? So it kind of helps
Exactly.
us really be able to navigate this crazy life. Gone are
Yes.
the days that we are home preparing every meal. We're oftentimes on the run, on the go, and just
Right.
making sure that we're, within that structure of our new life, of our new world, how do we survive and how do we find success in that?
Yeah, and you make a really good point. It doesn't all have to be home prepared, perfectly, macro balanced meals. It's a lot of clients will come to me and they'll say, I'm going to be, traveling all day. What are the best choices I can make? And that's what we work on, the best choices you can make in that scenario.
Mm, I love that.
And I think that's what helps them, um, you know, feel good regardless of where they are, what's going on. It's the best choices they can make in that situation.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I
and it
love that so
doesn't,
much. But go on,
yeah.
sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say, and it doesn't take, you know, hundreds of dollars of, testing. I think there is a place for testing, and I recommend to my clients, what tests they should be asking their physicians for.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of times it's just understanding your bodies and being in tune with your bodies. And when you start to make certain shifts, noticing, oh yeah, when I did start my day with, more protein with in my breakfast, I did feel more energy throughout the day. And so
Yeah.
we talk about sort of how to just even get in tune with your own body. We've lost
Yeah.
that, I think, somehow along the way.
And kind of on that note, tips, would you say if there's like one maybe tip that you can give to people out there, that would be a really good shift? I mean, I know for me, kind of my personal tip that I've taken from you, but what would you say is maybe, okay, here's one thing. If you were to change one thing, what would be important?
Well, it depends on, what someone's coming to me for and what they're trying to achieve. I would say for women in midlife, there has been a lot of focus on protein. So I think, at this point, women, they know, they hear it all the time. You need to be eating more protein. So outside of that, what I really, because I'm a gut health specialist, I really want to help women getting more fiber in their diet.
Mm,
And so helping them understand, what ways can they easily get more fiber in their diet. It doesn't mean you have to be eating salads all day long, but there's some really delicious foods out there that you may not even realize have a lot of fiber in them, like avocados, peas, edamame, even just throwing some chia seeds into your morning yogurt
mm,
or, nuts and seeds really structuring your meals and snacks in a way to make sure that you're getting in enough fiber. That's what I would say would be my number one um, recommendation to
yeah.
women. especially because gut health drives so much of our hormone and immune health.
Oh my gosh, I love it. Every time I talk to you, I learn more and more new things, and I'm so appreciative of everything. So, if someone wants to get a hold of you,
Mhm.
um, is there a way, I'll of course put everything in the notes, but website, email address, what's the best way, Instagram, what's the best way for people to find you and to learn more and maybe schedule some time with you?
Yeah, absolutely. You can reach me through my website, root2risenutrition.com. Meredith will put it in the notes. I am on Instagram. I have an Instagram account. I've been very, very quiet on Instagram lately. My more comfortable way of meeting people is in person through networking, through workshops. So I don't spend a ton of time on Instagram, but you'll see what I'm about there. And you can call me, text me. I also offer, 20-minute free consults if you're interested. You want to find out more about how I work, if I would be a good fit. I love meeting clients that way. I don't want anyone to invest in something that they're not fully comfortable with.
Yeah,
So it's a great way for us to make sure we're both, fit for each other. So feel free to, on my website, there's a button where you can contact me to schedule that.
perfect, perfect. And if you have any upcoming events or anything, I'll put that in the notes as well. I know some things that you do are private, and then some things might be more for the public. So if there's anything for the public, we will share that. So
Okay.
thank you again. I'm so appreciative
Thank
for
you, Meredith.
you've supported me personally, and I cannot thank you enough. And as a friend, as a professional. So, like I said, I wanted to come and share you with others so that they could benefit like I have. So, thanks again,
Thank
everyone, for
you.
joining Hot Flashes and Cool Chats. Um, Thanking Miss Leah.
Thank
And
you.
you want to connect and explore ways that she can be a resource for you. Of course, we'll have all of our information. And until next time, I just want to thank everyone and remind them that you are not alone. We are in this midlife journey together. And here is to more hot flashes, cool chats, and with amazing women like Leah, really great, meaningful connections. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Mare. Take care.
Bye.